I'm ready.
Yeah.
Yes. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So, if Caesar or Napoleon came back alive today, could they be able to solve the complicated problems of today's world, such as economic inequality, environmental pollution, or even perhaps international crime? Although they were compelling leaders of their own time, I believe it would be very difficult for them to do the same today as well. In a different era, we need a different leadership. But what is the definitive leadership of today's world? I will try to answer this question by making a distinction between servant leadership and charismatic leadership with the examples of Frenchmen Jean Monnet and Charles de Gaulle respectively. I will compare these two leaders with three standards. 1. The vision they set for their community. 2. Their expertise in a particular field to gain the trust of the people. And 3. Their ability to communicate and understand the desires of the people. So let's begin discussion with Jean Monnet. I believe that Jean Monnet is a prime example of servant leadership, and I'll explain why. Now, Monnet spent most of his life as a citizen in the private sphere, and is yet known as the father of the European Union. At a young age, Monnet started to travel abroad to help his family's wine business. While Monnet's father once stated, don't not bring any books while traveling because no one thinks on behalf of you. So instead of reading books, just try to see outside the window, see the scenery and talk with the local people, experience something. Now, Jean Monnet, when World War II broke out, he managed the efficient delivery of war supplies for the Alliance. And even after World War II, he managed to prepare a plan for European integration. His plan was to manage the coal and steel in the Ruhr region of Germany. And his idea was eventually realized to the European coal and steel community in 1952. Now, Jean Monnet was not a president nor a prime minister, but he managed to bring up the former president of the European Union, and he was also recorded in contemporary European history as the founder of the EU. How is that? Well, Jean Monnet once stated that there are two categories of people in this world. Those who want to become someone, and those who want to do something. Monnet himself stated that he was someone who would rather do something than to become someone, and European integration was something that he wanted to achieve. And now compare him with another example, Charles de Gaulle, founder of France's Fifth Republic and also the charismatic president who changed France's political system from parliamentary to presidential. Now, de Gaulle believed in the dignity of a leader. A leader is someone who makes his own decisions and must never show his weak side to his followers. He proposed this by saying many examples, and he set many examples himself. For example, de Gaulle never wore glasses when he spoke in front of public because he thought that would make him weak. Also, he never traveled with a swarm of bodyguards surrounding him, and he was the one who led the French free forces headfirst during the Normandy invasion. Now, he believed that this was the true attitude of a great leader of the great Republic of France. Now, de Gaulle's presidency only ended after he resigned from his presidency after he failed to pass a referendum on the local administration reform in 1968. But he never necessarily had to resign from his position because of just a failed referendum vote. However, de Gaulle regarded this failed referendum result as a veto against his presidency. In this way, I believe that de Gaulle also valued communication very much, but in order to know what's best for his people, he, in a sense, communicated with only himself, not with his fellow citizens. And so let's make the comparison between Jean Monnet and Charles de Gaulle now with the three standards. First, on visions. Now, Jean Monnet looked toward Europe beyond his own mother country, France. He believed that the peace of France could be preserved through the European integration. In contrast, Charles de Gaulle believed that the glorious France could be the only one in the world. He believed that he was prioritizing the achievement of the glory of France, and thus European peace could only be brought by a strong France instead. And second, on expertise. Jean Monnet already became an expert in finding a consensus among many different interests within the different countries of Europe. Through his experience in the Coordinational Committee in World War I and World War II, Jean Monnet managed to find a consensus and thus establish the European coal and steel community. In contrast, de Gaulle lived most of his life as an army general who had a strong conviction to lead the soldiers toward a patriotic goal, the liberation of France. Now, he was experienced, but living most of his life as an army general, he knew how to make orders, but not so much as a public servant who should take them. And thirdly and finally, on communication. Now, de Gaulle and Monnet both believed that it wasn't that great things make great people, but that great people make great things. But for de Gaulle, it was the person, the leader that made the difference. For Monet, it was a person that could change the world. For de Gaulle, that person was the one out of the many, and for Monet, it was the many that made the one. Now, there are still many problems that exist in Europe, and it's not just Europe either. Globalization has been both a blessing and a curse in the fact that a lot of other countries are now exposed to each other for trading share benefits, sure, but also for clashing with each other at the same time. In this world, I believe that Charles de Gaulle, not Charles de Gaulle, but Jean Monnet should be the president and the most anticipated model of leadership. We should have the capacity to live with differences. We should also become an expert in seeking the consensus. And we should also look towards the world in a broader view, and not just individual countries. Because in this world, we should find something that we want to do before we become someone we want to be. Ladies and gentlemen, we must, as Jean Monnet did, serve to lead the people. Thank you.